Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a GameReplays.org Heroes of Newerth cast. Today we do have, I believe these are the quarterfinals now of the qualifying round number 2 here for the Game Replays Tournament Season 3. We do have on the Legion side Evil Geniuses, the victors of the Digital Youth Awards, going up against Team Ice, who weirdly enough, was second place at the Digital Youth Awards, and they also placed, I do believe, quarterfinals in our GRTS3 qualifying round number 1. So these two teams definitely have a little bit of history, and we have seen a little bit of them around the place as well. I do see Fuji Apples now sporting his EG tag. It is a big pleasure to cast him. Hopefully he'll go Balfagor and just destroy some squishies, but that was the last time I got to see him do that. Today I'm the Four Court Jester, and co-casting with me is Smak from Dirty Minds. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just great. Looking forward to this game. We have two top American teams. It's just everything is there to be an epic match. And again, I'm just looking forward to this.
Yeah, so am I. Chu coming back into the game, 2089 PSR. I have not seen Chu ever since he signed up with the EG, and it is just going to be hopefully a really good game. Now, not to discredit their opponents here, Team Ice, of course, did come second in that Digital Youth Awards, and they have been throwing out good placements here in various tournaments all over the place, including quarterfinals with our last qualifying round. So, Breezed there. Is it Breezed or Brizzed, or how do I say his name? Do you know?
Brized. I believe it's Brized.
Brized. I'm never going to remember that. Brized here, team captain. I fully expect to see a ban coming out of Chu on that electrician. What do you think there?
Perhaps there's a great chance because they did so at DYA, I believe. They did ban electrician in one of the games, so we could see that as well today. But I still don't think electrician is worth a ban, especially if the newest heroes are allowed to be picked.
Well, the new heroes are allowed to be picked. We have had now a week of, throwing everyone into the Myrmidon scene. So he's okay. Meraxis is okay. Bombardier, he's okay. Who was the last hero that came out before Bombardier? Flint? I don't know. He's okay too. So it's all good. It's all good, sir. It's all good. So we do have some bans coming out now with a little bit of talk here from the two teams. So how about we go over the bans here, Smak?
Alright, there's again nothing that stands out. It's Dr. Pausa, Hellbringer, Pebbles. That's pretty much something that I would expect in almost any game. But maybe Bombardier now. That's pretty much expected as well. Perhaps Magnus and Reggie Hag. Reggie Hag, we haven't really seen that band quite often, so that might be something awkward in this game. I would have actually preferred to see a ban on Chipper instead of Hag, maybe Slitter. But this is just my belief. But still, Chu plays a good Hag, so I'm not really surprised if Ice does not want to see Hag in the game.
Well, Haig and Defiler, Chipper as well. These are all very big, well-known Chu heroes. I mean, look at his top 5 players, top 5 favorites there, and you will see Haig at the first and Defiler as the last, and 1% within all of those different picks. We do have a Myrmidon coming straight out of the picks here, so Chu very confident with a Myrmidon pick, and hopefully we're going to see this new hero in action. I know there's been a lot of people asking around town looking for a lot of those higher end PSR games with the Myrmidon, so depending on how well he does, maybe we can recommend that. I find it very interesting here. In the last game, Ice just went up against Binary Evasion. It was, however, defaulted, but we did get through the picks and bans for them, and last game, between Ice and Binary Evasion, we had almost all the core strength heroes banned out, and now here in this game against Evil Geniuses, between the two of them, I mean, 5 of the 6 bans here are all intelligence heroes. So I find that the juxtaposition between that very different. And again, there's another Magnus ban in this game. What's the point of banning a Magnus, sir?
Well, Magnus is just a very useful hero. He can do so many things. Pretty much belongs to any point of the game, even in late game. His stun could be quite decisive. If he can pick off more than 2 people, that would be just so good. It's just that Magnus early on can do so much pressure, and I'm not really surprised about Magnus ban. AG uses Magnus quite a bit, so that's not really something we should be worried about.
Alright, well, we're not going to worry about him at all, as he has been banned. And as you said, the other bans there, nothing really too suspicious. I mean, Bubbles and Bombardier, the Wretched Hag was obviously centered at that Chew. What other kind of big names? Hellbringer is gone, that's the top played here on Dodo, as well as we do have that Dr. Repulsor gone. I've yet to really see a lot of Dr. Repulsor play coming out of any kind of top-end match, simply because he almost seems to be an instant ban anytime we do get into these kind of high-end games. So we are just waiting now for the picks. I do see a very confident Fluff and stuff. He has readied up. He will be going Glacius. Glacius is, of course, one of those very key signature support heroes these days with his mana aura and his double slows. He doesn't actually even have a stun, but he does have the double slow. His ultimate can be really great in a pinch, and we do see another Kraken coming out here for Team Ice. So how about we just go over all these picks from the beginning here, Smak?
Alright, well, on the Legion side, there are, let's say, 2 not so typical picks. The first one being Myrmidon, I believe was the first pick. Maybe EG wants to take this game as a triad for certain strategies. But then again, Myrmidon is just a useful hero. He's a damn good hero. And perhaps slightly imbalanced. But so is Moraxis at the same time. Right now, Legion has maybe just a slightly better picks when compared to Legion, because they don't depend on team fights. They can just, you know, force some minor clashes, so to speak. But on the Hellborn side, you have pretty much a synergy that has to work out if they want to have some results. And I have to say, despite Glacius being rather offensive in this lineup, they're gonna play defensively against EG.
Well, as we said, we do have some past history between these two teams. Evil Geniuses did take the championship at the Digital Youth Awards over Team Ice, so they kind of know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Being defensive after a loss is probably going to be natural at this point. Torturer is the last pickup here on Team Ice. Have not really seen too much of a Torturer, but I'm just taking a quick look at their team, and we do have, you know, the Demon Hand farmer himself, Soulsteer, to go with Torturer, who's an excellent push hero with that impalement, because impalement does hit those buildings, and couple that off with Tempest with a portal key and his plated greaves can definitely be another big pushing force in this game. So I kind of read into this right now is Team Ice is going to try to go for an early to mid game ending of the game with their 2 pushing heroes, because the late game setup here on the Legion is just really devastating. I mean, we got Chew on Slither, and we do have that Miraxis. Myrmidon only gets stronger as time goes on, and Flint Beastwood as a hard carry can just really start destroying faces at the very end of a game. Pharaoh is in there as well. He's going to be some superb initiation, especially coupled with a portal key Miraxis, and this is just really going to be very hard, I think, for Ice to do what their battle plan is suggesting, at least to me, which is going to be that early push game. But what are your thoughts here, Smak?
I have to agree with you about the pushing potential of Hellborn side, but if you look at the Legion side, there's also a huge potential to do the same. You have Slitherwoods, you have Pharaoh, you have Flint Beastwoods. If you just take a look at both of the teams, they have the power to take out a wave in just a matter of seconds, just giving them so much potential to push at those towers early on. So it's pretty much what comes to this lineup is whoever reacts first is gonna have upper hand, in my opinion. Also on Hellborn side, they can pretty much push the same. It's rather equal when it comes to pushing. It's if they have Tempest and Torture on the separate side, and if EG has Slither and Pharaoh on separate sides as well, pretty much the same potential of pushing. It's gonna come to which team has more benefits of that, which team has better results, because as the time passes, each is gonna have the upper hand no matter what, solely because of the hard carries they have.
Yeah, hard carries have a tendency of just destroying the end game if they can get farmed up enough. But yeah, you do have kind of a point. Slither with his wards can also be a very devastating pushing force, or even a jungling force. And speaking of jungling, I mean, what do you think they're going to do with this Tempest here on the Hellborn team? He is a renowned kind of jungler with his elements, and then just popping back into lane for a quick gank. We saw this kind of play really just pop off between the Tempest and the who was it? Ophelia that Jaw was playing back at the Digital Youth Awards, as they were able to push two towers. In fact, it was this tower and this tower in the top lane. They were able to push them both down within 4 minutes using that combination. So I have to wonder, are we going to be seeing something similar with the Torturer here instead of that Ophelia?
Could be, but I believe they will maybe do something else, like having Soulstar at mid lane, Tempest in the forest, and Torture at top lane, assisting Torture, because I believe it's gonna be Pharaoh there to play against him, and the bottom lane most likely Kraken with Glaciers. That's probably what I would have done, but maybe Bryce there's something different in his mind.
If there's anything we know about Bryce, it's that you really can't fully expect to know what he's going to be
You
going.
can't tell exactly.
I mean, after he came out with his dominating electrician mid play, I mean, that just really took off like a rocket, which ultimately just forced a remake almost on the entire structure of the hero. I mean, they remade him so very heavily that we barely see him anymore. And then what does he do? He just takes those nerfs, throws them in the S2's face, and just dominates the Digital Youth Awards with that as well. So we do have a reworked Kraken now. That's going to be under his control. I just have to wonder what kind of crazy build are we going to see coming out of him.
Honestly, as you just said, with Bryce everything is possible and everything can work out. What I'm concerned about EG and their lanes, we do understand they have much to go with, but from the start when you have to just make the lanes properly, I just don't see what they're gonna do. I can imagine Pharaoh being a top lane and maybe Flint at mid lane solo and Slit at bottom lane alone, and then you can have roaming Maraxus and Myrmidon. It just doesn't seem right, but that's the least I can think right now. Maybe
Well,
they have something else in the mind. Perhaps they do, but I just can't really tell.
with this lineup, I mean, Myrmidon is a very variable kind of hero at this point. We have to really discount the fact that he could be played as either support or the semi-carry role. Now, Fuji Apples is kind of more well known, I think, for his semi-carry rather than his support, I suppose. But with a Myrmidon, he is so new to the scene that really, as I said, people have been looking around for the pro replays of him, trying to figure out some good builds that a lot of the higher PSR players have been doing, and we just have a renowned lack of them right now. So, as I said, if Fuji Apples can really do well with Myrmidon, this might become a defining build for people, which would be accredited to him, just as if the Fuji Apples Balfagor strat, just how that came to be back at the CSN finals for the Cyber Sports Network, as he just dominated MSI with that Balfagor play. So, who knows what's going to go, but I really don't see a Flint Beastwood soloing either. He is a very squishy hero, 492 hit points off the bat of the game. I can't really imagine that they're going to throw Subuska solo, especially if they come up against, for example, that Kraken and Glacius combo. And that's almost just asking to die.
That's true, but I believe they'll put Soulstar in mid lane, and that's when Flint Beast can take what Flint Beast can take care of. What's also true about Myrmidon is right now we don't really know much about the hero. We can agree about the hero being useful just by reading his spells and hearing and seeing him being played in public games. But we still have to see a model of play, just some competitive player choosing to play here as a semi carry or perhaps a supporter to just establish some default items that make some sense on the hero. But I have to say, in this strategy, I mean, in this lineup that EG has, we could most likely see a roaming Myrmidon. I've seen that before, and it turns out quite well. I have to say that. So it should not come as a surprise if we see a roaming Myrmidon as well.
Well, take all that as you can, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry if you're munching on the popcorn and it's getting a little low. I'm actually just going to stop recording at this point until we can get ourselves back going. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Alright, the players have now loaded back up and we are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. So we're finally going to be seeing this Ice versus Evil Geniuses game here in the TS3 Invitational, no, sorry, qualifying round. Number 2, Smak, you're still with me, right sir?
Of course.
Great. So we do see the players now finally moving out. Where did that Myrmidon get to? Where did he run off to? He is running up here. And so what did Myrmidon go for first items? He does have himself a pair of wards. So he's not going to be going at least an initial carry roll with 2 wards to his name. He does look like to do a little bit of support, at least in the beginning. We'll have to see if Fuji Apples will transition past that. But we do have 4 Legion here down south. Moraxis picking up typical regen stuff. We do have Slither here on Chu. Now knowing Chu, Slither's probably going to be taking mid here. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Smak?
Actually, that is likely to happen. Slither against So Stella is quite an interesting matchup, and I have to say that Slither has the upper hand at mid lane against So Stella. We should not be surprised if we see that. By the way, what appears like to be is that we will definitely see a roaming Myrmidon. And if that happens, I believe Chu's gonna have an easy lane mid, because So Stella with Myrmidon against Myrmidon instead is just not a good time for him.
Well, I do see 3...
As you can notice, there's nobody at bottom lane.
Yeah, that's just...
So you can expect more access to Myrmidon to roam around.
This is an interesting setup coming out of here, out of Ice. We do have Kraken in lane, but that Pharaoh is wisely staying back because he did see a lot of people roaming around. We do have Torture still up here. It does look like Tempest picking up himself an Illusion Rune. He will be indeed jungling, and that leaves us with a roaming Glacius, at least right now. This could be really bad for Slither, but he's going to be past, he's just going to back off right there. And as you said, there's nobody south in this tri-lane. So we do have Flint Beastwood now going to be getting himself a lot of free farm. And if there's one thing I know, it's that you do not want to give Flint Beastwood a lot of free farm. Now, we did see the wards come out. We did see Fuji Apples put one here at the rune, and then one again here on the high ground, right by this bottom tower. So that's a new ward spot that I've ever seen. I'm not too sure how effective it's going to be because it is not above those trees, but that is where he indeed put it. We do have another ward here from Fluff and Stuff here on the Hellborn, just above the ramp here at Kongor. I don't see a second, there's a second rune for them, even with a counter ward there on the top river-ish kind of area. So those are going to be those, and look at that, Glacius going down as a Bloodlust here with Slither going to be joining him as well. Tempest coming out of the jungle, and geez, just so many roamers at this point, going to be taking out that Soul Stealer as well. This Fuji Apple is playing on Myrmidon. The stun comes out on Tempest. Tempest is already level 4, and wow, that's pretty impressive for him, but the range is just not going to be enough to take him out. Glacius is in the mid, and he's going to be pushing off both of these heroes. He might be trying to chase down this Myrmidon, but he can't allow the Moraxis to get too many free hits on him. The Weed Field coming out and just dropping this Glacius so very quickly. That was a lot of unexpected damage there, Smak, but it's not even over as Glacius is taking so much poison damage again, and Chu is going to be grabbing that kill right off the bat. 3-1 just from this mid lane alone, and that is quite the turnaround. It looks like even Pharaoh up top is getting pushed here from this Kraken and Torture. They didn't seem to care anything about the mid, but oh my god, I think it's over, Smak. So no, it's not even over, Smak. This Moraxis coming out of nowhere, and Chu gonna grab a second kill here in the mid on the Soul Stealer. 4-1 now. So whatever this roaming strat here from Ice was, it just did not stand up to this Evil Genius composition. Okay, I think it's over now. Oh my god.
Yeah, I have to say that I told you, because Myrmidon, even with level 1, with the first spell, what it's called, It's wheat field, yeah. It's just huge for roaming at early levels, and with the help from Moraxis, it's just gonna be better. The only thing that I did not guess was later being mid lane instead of bottom, but nevertheless that works out fine.
Well, not too sure why Tempest has decided to come south. He should be happily creeping away in his jungle. We do have a roaming up here as well. We do have Glacius. I think he's going to try to do a creep pull at this point, but Pharaoh is level 3. Kraken and Torture are also level 3, but at this point we could see a very big pincer attack coming here onto the Pharaoh. Does not seem that the Glacius is either... Oh no, he is alive, okay. But he's going to stack the creeps. He's not going to pull the creeps. And we do have Moraxis coming up now as well to just check the scene out. But it looks like he is indeed going to be doing a lot of roaming, as he's now going to go back to mid. And it looks like he wants to put a lot of pressure up here with the Slither in the mid. We do have the push coming out from Ice into this bottom lane. There is a Glacius now showing up, but Pharaoh throwing out a Snot Rocket easy vision. And he's going to back off, no problem there.
As you said yourself, just so much movement from the start, and it already pains Ice quite a bit.
Yeah, Ja just got himself served by Fuji Apples and that weed field. Again, not too sure what he was doing down there. But look at mid again. Soulstealer very squishy this early game, and it's showing as he goes down yet again. So does Slither though, and that Torture picking up that kill on Chu, the solo mid from Evil Geniuses. I don't think we can actually leave this middle lane. There just seems to be all the action and all the kills here in this mid lane. But yeah, this roaming Moraxis with at least Chu in that regard was able to take down their solo mid yet again. It does look like they're going to dual lane now in this mid. At least that's what I would do, just so you don't have any more deaths coming out on this Soul Stealer, because Soul Stealer farm is very important early on, so you can start grabbing those items that makes the late game farm just come so easily. But Moraxis doesn't care. He's just going to take that Invis rune and shove it in front of Soul Stealer's face. Unfortunately, the poison attack from Chu was not able to land, but he is just going to be so starved in this lane with no farm. What else is going on up top? The Pharaoh has come, and he is down, as it looks like that Torture coming up there for support with that Glacius and that Kraken. I mean, a 3-on-1, not a good odds at any rate, and just so much action this game. Wow, what happened down south, you know?
As I told you, so much movement, and that's pretty much so much action in return. There's one thing I want to point out, even though that EG has the advantage right now, it's I dare to say that it's rather insignificant, because if you just take a look at the matchup, you will notice that Hellbound has so much better synergy, and when they start picking off the levels and say Polki on Tempest, it should not be surprised if they turn things around, especially with Soulstealer farming. It's pretty much known that you can't stop Soulstealer from farming. At least you can slow him down, but not really stop him. Well, as soon as we get to team fights, Hellbourne has the advantage. Will have, sorry.
But is Evil Geniuses going to allow it to get to that level? I mean, right now, as you said, it's a lot of mobility, it's a lot of movement, and almost it seems like chain kills. We have 7 kills on Evil Geniuses, and it's not even at the 7-minute mark yet.
Yeah, that's just hilarious. But then again, if they decide to avoid team fights, which is apparently would be a good call, sometimes when things like push in the lane happen, you don't really have much of the choices. It's either you can choose to defend against the pushing team and then force a team fight and hope for the best, or just play out that properly, or you can just forfeit the tower. So it's just Hellbourne can really force a team fight. It's just, let's just see how EG reacts to that.
Well, EG right now reacting. That tower did not matter whatsoever for that death on the Soulstealer, but Torture overextending just a little bit too far here. I think they are not going to be landing that kill on that Slither, but it does look like they will be picking up Torture and Glacius, and Myrmidon is the consolation prize for Team Ice here, as he's stuck around a little too long there. I don't even see a corpse out of him, so I think he just turns into sushi or something when he dies. But a little bit of action up top as well. Pharaoh's going to be trapping this Kraken inside those mummy walls, but Kraken with his Tsunami Charge, I think it's called. Yeah, Tsunami Charge. He can just run right out of those mummies, so it's just a really terrible matchup here for the Pharaoh. While we do have a little bit of a break, we still have Jaw down here on this Tempest down south against his Flint Beastwood. Now Flint, he has not left lane at all, and look at his farm, 40 and 16 here at the 8.5 minute mark. He's doing quite well for himself, isn't he, Smak?
That was to be expected. But then again, when they catch up with the levels, as I said, Ice can force a team fight, and Flint Beastwoods at that point, early on in the game, does not really have too much to do. It's not really something they should be afraid of when they're pushing. Certainly, Flint Beastwood can be just stopping the waves, but in team fight, not really too much right now.
Well, when it comes to a team fight, having, you know, the top level of the game on your side just fully farmed up, you might not call that scary, but that's a worst nightmare scenario for me, sir. So I'm going to keep an eye on him when he eventually does leave this lane. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but it should happen. It looks like Slither was putting a lot of pressure here on Semiju here in the mid, but he will be getting out of that. I did notice that this Meraxis, I think he's trying to do some creeping, but at the same time, he almost died there to neutrals. That would have just been, you know, a very interesting death message for Dodo. I think a lot of smack talk would have come out of that as well. But he will finish up that. We do have Kraken roaming back up to top with this Torturer, and who is out jungling? It is Glacius. It is the 54-second mark, so he's just pulling creeps at this point, stacking. So maybe we get a little bit of a consolation here later on for that Soul Steer. We do see Ja going down yet again. Ja playing this Tempest. Tempest as a laner, I'm not really too fond of it, and he's just not doing very well at it right now. 1-3, and as I said, you know, with that Flint Beastwood, you know, nice and farmed and top level of the game, he's just going to be very dangerous, I think.
Yeah, but when you look at HoN's side, they certainly had goals before this match. They wanted to do a pushing strat, and in this strat, I suppose they want to have Tempest pushing the lane as much as possible. That might be the reason why they insisted on having Tempest the bottom lane and not in the forest.
Yeah, but when you put him up against a Flint Beastwood, that's almost nullifying your plan to all infinity. But talking about nullifying, Glacius going to be trapping the Slither, but Meraxis is going to grab that last shot there with his axe. And now we do have a Tsunami charging. Kraken just getting out of those mummy walls. As I said, it's a terrible matchup for that Pharaoh to go up against this newly reworked Kraken. And Brized here, just he hasn't really left the lane either. He's come mid a few times, but he's mostly just staying up there. He's sitting at a comfy 32 creep kills, level 6, 200 gold a minute. So, I mean, he's doing alright himself, just really ripping apart this lane as Pharaoh is almost powerless to stop him at this point.
I have to say one thing, it's about bottom lane with Tempest and Flint Beast when clashing against each other. You have to have in mind that it was mobility from Meraxis and Myrmidon just that made the difference. It wasn't Flint Beastman solely doing that. It's just that he needed help early on, and then he was able to take over the lane himself.
Yeah, but it's almost like a snowball effect. Once he starts taking over the lane, he's just going to keep taking over the game unless you can shut him down. I mean, like right now, just look at the hero allocations for the Hellborn. We do have all 5 of them in this upper quadrant of the map, and they're just kind of jungling. I mean, that's 2 lanes of just free farm that they're affording evil geniuses right now, and I really do think that's just going to come back and bite them in the ass.
Also, you should have in mind that when it comes to team fights, Hellborn's side has so much more of the burst damage, and that could prove to be the crucial factor in the team fights. Just being able to pick off opponents so quickly that you don't actually lose a hero yourself. If you notice that Slither has damage over time, let's say more access as well, with the access of Flint as well.
Well, this Slither has
Oh, we have a fight,
haste.
so you can take over.
That's the big thing there. As he gets off that ultimate just before the Tempest takes him down. Torture looks like he's going to be making it, but I don't know if there's going to be a Snot Rocket or not coming out of Pharaoh. But Pharaoh is going to be able to snipe him off just before he goes down. And this is, look at you, sir, proving yourself right. Without that Flint Beast to it, all four of the opposing evil geniuses died there, and all they had to pay for it was with that Torture and a Glacius. So, I don't know, I think team fights, you might be onto something here, sir.
Well, exactly. I believe the forest was tagged. It was maxed out, I believe, with the stacks, and So Stiller took that, I suppose. No matter how much you do to stop So Stiller early on, you can't really stop him. You can slow him down, but with those stacks you can just recover so easily. And when you have a So Stiller that has his items ready, in a matchup like this, the heroes that Hellborn has, it's never over, especially with Tempest in the team.
Yeah, the Tempest ult there coming out, it's a big reason why they were able to kill that Slither. Now, Slither with a haste is a very dangerous opponent because of so many slows and stacking damage over times he can just put on any of you. But at this point, Chu is being supported right now by Fuji, Apples, and Dodo here, all in the mid, putting up a lot of pressure. I'm a little surprised that the first tower kill was going to be awarded there to Evil Geniuses, despite the pushing lineup that Team Ice here have. But I haven't really seen too much of a big pushing strat coming out of them. So they do seem to be very on the defensive.
Well, both teams kind of nullify each other when it comes to pushing and defending.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pharaoh is definitely not on an equal footing there with Glacius as he goes down, but Torture's able to pick up that kill, I do believe, on that Pharaoh. Does look like Myrmidon went down as well, and the Kraken ultimate coming out. We do have Flint actually in this fight, level 11, and he's just going to be trying to clean up here with Chu, and it does look like that was at least semi-successful picking off that Kraken, but a 3-for-2 exchange. Definitely climbing back into these kills will be Team Ice here, as they definitely have won the last two team fights, as you correctly predicted.
And that might be the downfall of Fiji. They're forcing team fights, which they should not do. They can always have the map won and just ensure farm for Flint Beast, but then just go into the late game and just win the game. But I suppose they just want to have, just the game more interesting. Perhaps they feel their pushing power is slightly better, so they can overcome the difficulties Hellborn can put up. Oh, there's the action you can take over.
Yeah, well, the Glacius went down solo to this Chu, but even going down is going to be that Jai. He got denied by his teammate. The Weed Field would have made it a lot easier if it actually landed on the teleport, but Chu is just really playing like a boss at this point, and now just picking up yet another kill on that Torture. I mean, like right now, as we said, you don't really want to force those team fights, and so they're picking off this Hellborn team almost one at a time. So, well, in this case, two at a time, since two of them went down. But Chu is really using his wards for a really good vision here, and just running around this jungle behind this tower very, very boldly, and that's affording them a lot of kills right now. And just tossing out these axes is more access. He doesn't even have anything in that arcane shield. He doesn't need it at this point, but Kraken's going to be trying his best to get out of this, but the Weed Field comes out, and now that Kraken is going to be drowning in his, well, not his own seaweed, but someone else's seaweed for a change. This is not going to be looking good here for this defensive tower. It's most likely going down right now, but a great blind ultimate right onto that Soul Steer from the Pharaoh, and that's really going to afford him a lot of time just to get pinned down right there. So right then and there, this Fuji Apple is really playing this Myrmidon as a very big support, just keeping people in place and allowing the kills to rack up. We did see the Tempest ultimate come out to no avail, and now I do believe we're going to be backing up here. So 23-12 is the score, ladies and gentlemen. The Evil Geniuses definitely has a very big early game advantage when they don't force those team fights.
There's one thing we have talked about at the start of the game, is just EG backing off people, staying off the team fights, and that's exactly what they started to do, and already you can see the result of that. There could be some questionable decisions by Ice to fight the mid lane, as you might have seen. Glacius and Kraken out as an action top. Kraken tried to take out Hera, but unsuccessful.
Oh, we got a Magic Carp going to be following this Kraken, but he knows not to be moving during that Magic Carp because he will get stunned, so he just stopped right in the nick of time, and now he's going to get out of that no problem. We still have really not seen a lot of pressure coming out on these towers here for Evil Geniuses. All three of them still up, and really I think the lowest one is still about, it's about half health. Half health. We do have Chu here in the jungle. Hope he doesn't die to this jungle, but he's just killing all these ancients at this point. Now, we really haven't talked about any of the items that have come out, but let's just take a quick look. Top gold per minute right now is sitting very heavily on this Flint Beastwood. 5-0 with 104 creep kills. He's sitting almost 500 gold a minute, which is very impressive. Yeah, for anyone really. Sibusca playing that Flint Beastwood, and what has he done with his items? We are sitting almost 19 minutes into the game. He has himself a Geometer's Bane. This is just not going to be good for Ice. What other kind of big item pickups do we have around here? Do you know, Smak?
On Legion sides, I'm going through the heroes, and you can just see Geometer's Bane on Flint Beastwood. I suppose he's working towards Shrunken Head as well. Could be straight Frostwolf, depends what he wants to do or what their aims are. On the Hellborn side, there's nothing that stands out at this point as well. However, we do see the semi-juice saving cash of Portal Key is not close to that, but still. Just nothing that stands out on Hellborn side as well.
Well, that's not too surprising on the Hellborn side because they are 12,000 gold in the deficit here. But look at all the portal keys coming down south. Jaw getting picked off by that weed field on Fuji Apples. Kraken is now forced to retreat, and this is just coming off their torture kill as they take that top tower as well. I would definitely have to say, though, that EG, very dominant force in this early to mid game, which is exactly what Ice was trying to be. But so far, just the execution of it all has not been very favorable to them. I mean, 15,000 gold difference, 10,000 experience difference, so it's not that really surprising that the Hellborn don't have really any of those big name pickups, so to speak, as of yet.
I have to say, with these lineups, I was hoping for an even game. I just hope it would be an anyone game at this point. We have an action top. You can take over.
Alright, we do have Torture going to be finding the Slither. Slither really just overextending himself with no kind of support in the area. I do think Chu was playing a little bit too confidently there, as they did find his wards. He did get off his ultimate. I mean, look at all these juicy pickoffs right here for Pharaoh. If he can get a Snot Rocket off. Somebody just died. Who just died? It was, wow, how did Meraxes get up here? But wow, this top lane just dominated now by this Meraxes picking up a double tap right there. Even going to be getting away from that Kraken. Glacius lived with a few hit points, but just wow. Fuji Apples went down somewhere. I'm not too sure where, but where was Fuji Apples and how did he die?
Bottom lane. Oh, Fuji Apples, I haven't seen him. Perhaps he was top. On bottom lane, I saw somebody dying to Sibusca at bottom lane. At top lane there was hasted Meraxes picking off people. I'm not certain, I watched top, just like his health.
Well, Kraken could definitely have a very big opportunity here to take down Flint Beastwood with a Kraken ultimate coming out right on top of him. Again, just seems to be a little bit overextension here on Evil Geniuses. They are up 28-15, but now that's two successive kills where they haven't had any kind of support in and around those heroes, which is a little weird for them to be showing. I mean, now the support is here, and Meraxes is here for Pharaoh. We do have Chu, and now we do got Fuji Apples joining the party, so they're just a little too late to save Sibusca that death. But I did see a portal key come out here on this Meraxes, so that's going to be a huge pickup for him, especially in the initiation scene, because now he can just follow up with that Pharaoh and just start, well, I'd like to say destroying people at this point, but they're already doing that, so they're going to continue destroying people in that regard. We do have a great Kraken key there at the same time. He's going to be trying to take down the Slither so very hard, but it's not going to happen. Slither's going to get away, but Pharaoh's sacrificing himself for Chu to live another day. I don't think I saw the Tempest ultimate come out there, so he's basically using everything except the kitchen sink to take him down. It's just not looking good right now.
I have to say this is probably the best moment for Hellborn side to push. There's Pharaoh dead, and oh, we have Kraken picks up the bottom lane. That is unfortunate for them.
I think that was a little bit overconfidence on Bryce there as well. But with this ward up here...
Oh, that was Shrunken Head.
Yeah, I was going to say, with this ward up here, Fuji Apples is about to take out 2 more teammates here on ice, but you are correct, he does have himself a Shrunken Head. It's just also going to be a great pickup for him. It's almost going to be very impossible now to take out this Flint, I do think.
Actually, I have to agree. He's level 15, he has the range, he can just, you know, stay behind, wait for the team fight and just pop in and pretty much finish off everyone. I have to say that Ice just made several mistakes in a row that kind of just shut the way they could have taken, about just forcing team fights, being at a good position, and so much more than they've done so far. But right now they're just running out of time, and Flint Beastwood is just becoming a beast they can't stop.
I wonder if S2 named him appropriately on purpose like that. But holy crap, what happened just mid? Glacius shattered between the combination of Fuji Apples and Dodo on that Meraxes, and Soulsteer also now going to get taken out. And just look at this Fuji Apples with his ultimate, his forced evolution. He's going to be wandering around. Kraken was able to pick up a consolation kill on the Meraxes, but at this point, it does not look very good for this defensive tower. We have a Gnome's Wisdom here picked up on Slither, and since he is going that heavy ward Slither, I do think that's going to give him a lot of extra hit points and attempts here to live. This tower is going down. The Kraken ultimate, it does seem to do its part, but at the same time it just was not enough, as it does look like even Torture going down. So on the doorstep here of Ice is indeed the first genocide of the game, and to go with that will be the mid Raxes here. And I gotta really say, you know, Ice not giving up quite yet, as we do have Tempest coming back to the lane. But just check out the ultimate there with Flint Beast, with the level 3 money shot, just takes out half of Tempest's health. That's very hard to combat.
If you notice the items, well, you can see the difference now. There's just, on Hellborn sides, the key items they need to have so they strategy can work out, or starts to work out. They are missing Polar Key on Tempest. Semi-Duo also still has his own, but Tempest without Polar Key is just, you know, probably the most crucial.
Oh, a little bit of overextension. Oh my god, Flint Beastwood, he's down. He goes down. He's dead, yeah. These Raxes, the melee Rax was able to be taken out. The range is still nice and healthy. His Soul Stealer did go down as well. Now looks like we want to push down Chu, but in comes the Fuji Apples with the support, and he's going to be taking down that Glacius, and at the same time Meraxes just poning the face off of that Torture, and even the Tempest joining that party. So we did kill Flint, but I do see Flint's alive again. I mean, with as much money as he has, he's still sitting there nice and pretty at 520 gold a minute. He just bought himself back right into this action. They want to end this game like now.
Definitely. There's also probably the surprise factor at the start that caught Ice off guard. I suppose that they did not expect so much mobility from EG from the start, and maybe lack of vision of just having not having proper vision on the map might actually lead them to getting caught. But I still think if it wasn't for the mid game, so to speak, because I suppose we already passed mid game in this particular game, just so many mistakes on their side that EG capitalized on.
This portal key on this Merax is definitely proving him very nice here. We do have Pharaoh up in that scene. He does miss his ultimate, however, and now look at that. The Kraken throwing down his tentacles there just to pick up that Meraxes, and now it looks like Pharaoh might be going down as well. But at the same time, we have no one defending the base, and this bottom tower is going to be taken out by Chu, who does, yeah, he does have himself a Geometer's Bane. We just need one more Bane here popped from this Flint Beastwood, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Fuji Apples had one himself. But It does look like he is a very heavy support build this game. I mean, just check out those items: Striders, the Blood Chalice, and the Astrolabe coming out for him. But despite being that support, he does have 8 kills to his name. Now he's going to force himself into some evolution. Now he's going to go for, it does look like Soul Stealer, but there's just too much tower damage right there, and he's not a very tanky hero despite being in that form. We do have the ultimate going off from Slither playing, I almost said Slither playing that Chew playing that Slither, and another triple kill. Sorry, no, double taps, my mistake there, for that Flint Beastwood, and he is going to extend his score up to 12-2. This Sabuska, man, he's definitely on fire, and just, oh, this Tempest, definitely could have went a little bit better for him, as he almost comes into the scene and gets insta-give. I'm not too sure what the Kraken was doing, but that's another genocide here for EG.
It's pretty much coming down to Flint Beastman just being the spine of EG, and just key items that turn out to be bulky, and Morax is just getting just. I just did not expect Morax being this useful in this game, since I mean, if you start off as a roaming hero, there's not really much you can do in the game, but being so versatile in this game. It's just huge.
Did you just see that Pharaoh and the Meraxes just jumping in to kill Torture one more time before the fountain takes them out?
Yeah, I did.
And they both buy back. They're both well on their way back up here. Who else just got taken out? Blue, Slither, who just bought back as well. These guys have so much money. Well, it really is over. Sacrificial Shrine is about to go down, but now just to alleviate a little bit of the KD issues, 46-25 was kind of the tentative final score here, although it's about to become 47-25, maybe even 48-25, as I'm just looking at Tempest. He has no chance really, and this Glacius gets Magic Carped as well, so man, oh man, what a game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's the defeat right there here in the GameReplays.org qualifying round number 2. EG, Evil Geniuses, triumphing once again over Team Ice, Team Epic here. And they will be moving on to the semifinals here in the qualifying round number 2. Smak, so much thank you. Thanks for joining me here, dude. I need to go get some water.
Alright, it was entirely my pleasure.
Alright, signing out.